Hey there, everybody. It's meteorologist Jamie Singleton. Sorry for the wait there, but we are looking at potential tornadic activity moving into the area as we speak. Western Henry County and most of Patrick County under a tornado warning right now from a radar indicated tornado. And we've also had some confirmed tornadoes down to the south across North Carolina. This is all from Tropical Depression Fred as it continues to lift north. These bands of rain and storms are encountering a tremendous amount of moisture in the air, and that makes it easier for those tornadoes to get to the ground because the clouds are like you can reach up and touch them. They're called the LCLs, and when they're that low, that makes it that much easier to produce tornadoes. So let's get right to the maps here. And Kevin Tosh is in the control room doing a great job for us this afternoon. You can see here that we've got a tornado watch in effect for all of Montgomery County down through Floyd into Franklin County and to Martinsville as well. That includes Rockingham County, North Carolina, a good part of the Southwest Mountain Empire as well. That's in effect for this, primarily for this band that's coming through right now. But we're also looking at the tornado warning that's in effect for Rockingham County and the Stokes County. And honestly, the main part of the tornadic cell with this is, looks like it's moving possibly into Patrick County. It's right on the border. I'm going to have to take a closer look at that, and I'm getting a lot more information over here on the other part of the screen too. I'm going to read to you the text of this tornado warning as you look at it there on your screen. We'll be doing this throughout the afternoon, so it's going to be kind of touch and go as far as jumping around back and forth. That's why I got Kevin in here. Stokes County, Rockingham County, Henry County, Patrick County until 3:15, so for about another 18 minutes or so. This is just a shower, but within that shower we've got that wind shear, and I'll show you that in a second. That's near Sandy Ridge, moving north at 25 miles per hour. With any tornado, if it's on the ground, it can produce flying debris to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes, you want to get out of a mobile home and get into a sturdy shelter. It's actually safer to go into a ditch and lie down in the low spot of the ditch rather than be in a mobile home in a situation where you have a tornado warning in effect. Vehicle damage will occur, tree damage likely. Spencer, Sandy Ridge, Sandville, Penn Store, Ferrystone State Park, Critz, and Buffalo Store. Take cover now, move to a basement or an interior room, the lowest floor of a sturdy building, and avoid windows. And if you can get into a bathroom or a place like a room with, you know, no windows, or maybe a workbench or a table, you can sometimes crawl in those, and that'll give you a little more protection. I'm going to look at the base velocity now, and I don't see anything jumping out at me right here in the current image, but I'm going to go back and see if we can't look at the past few scans here and see what's going on. And there it was as it crossed into North Carolina. We had a little bit of that orange and green right together, and that's now weakened as it's moved north. So the wind shear isn't quite as impressive in Virginia just yet, but what the National Weather Service is doing is they're cognizant of the fact that the wind shear is going to increase from south to north as the day goes on in the coming few hours. And you can actually see several notches here, one in Ridgeway, a horse pasture in Henry County. No warnings for these just yet, but these are also areas that show us that the atmosphere is trying to get something spinning up in that area. And so that's why the tornado warnings are in effect. This is kind of a different look here. We had a tornado warning for Yanceyville as well, and for that area in North Carolina, that was in effect. Let me go back and check that out for you. It's luckily as it moved toward Danville, it was canceled, and Caswell County, North Carolina was canceled as well. That was over Yanceyville, moving north at 25. So north at 25 seems to be the mean storm motion right now. And I'm going to go in here and set my storm motion as well. Just want to note that the cancellation has now included the Patrick Henry County. No, that's not the case. I'm sorry, I was back in time. That's still in effect, but the rotation has weakened quite a bit in that area. Again, if you go back here, you can see right to the south of Spencer and Patrick Springs is what prompted that tornado warning. And I'm going to put some storm motion on here so I can get an idea. We'll put our marker there. We'll take out the ambient wind and we will put in the storm relative wind so we can see and it shows up a lot more clear. You can see right there, I'm going to put the storm marker right there. This was just a few minutes ago at 2:44. And we had that right north of Sandy Ridge, right on the Virginia-North Carolina line, just south of 58. As it moved into Virginia, it kept its circulation right up to 58. So it'll be interesting to see if we had any damage. I'm looking at the correlation coefficient because this product, and we'll look at this a lot today, the cranberry colors show us where everything is rain and not debris. If we see any yellows or oranges in here, it's an indication that the radar is hitting something that's not meteorological. Pieces of wood, leaves, something that tells us usually, we've got a couplet there with velocity, we can see the rotation, and if we also see something that pops out, and we see a little bit of something popping out there just a few minutes ago at 51 minutes past the hour, that indicates that there could have been some debris that the radar was seeing there. In this case, it looks like it was probably just some leaves off the trees. Hopefully that's the case. This is not a confirmed tornado warning, but it is a tornado warning. And I still see some evidence of something that's not weather, although it's not sticking out like a sore thumb. It's just in there. Latest velocity, again, showing some rotation. There's actually, if you want to count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, several little notches there that we're looking at. Let's expand the view. I want to show you what's going on, and I'm going to put the lightning on here as well. So we'll pull up our place file manager and we'll add our lightning, which is already up, actually, I believe. Yep, it's already up. So we don't have a lot of lightning, and that's why it was interesting to see that the statement said these were showers and not thunderstorms. But as the day goes on, we're going to start to see a little more lightning in the coming few hours. Just a reminder, a tornado watch in effect for the area south and west of Roanoke until 7 o'clock. That's a short fuse tornado watch. I'll show it to you graphically once again. And we'll zoom out here. We'll take the radar off just to show you the alerts and where the warnings are. So all the red areas here from Radford, Blacksburg, Christiansburg, down through Floyd, we've got the tornado warning up where it's flashing. We've also got more tornado warnings down from Lenore, North Carolina, radar indicated tornado warnings. If they become observed, you will see it update live on your screen. That's west of I-77 and north of Morganton and Hickory on I-40. And I'm very familiar with that area. It's really pretty country out there. It reminds me a lot of here. Similar topography. And I bring that up because these warnings are coming out over mountainous areas. The mountains do not necessarily protect us from tornadoes when we are in a moisture-rich environment like we are. Dew point here at the station, 75. The temperature outside, 79. So if it drops 4 degrees here at the station, we're saturated. And that does two things. That adds a lot of oomph to the rainfall rates when they occur, which is why we have a flash flood watch in effect for much of the area into tonight. But it also allows for these storms to get those cloud bases really far down to the ground. And when you're a thunderstorm and you're trying to develop a tornado, the shorter the distance to the ground your cloud base is, the easier it is to produce the tornadoes. You know, the tornado back that we had in Franklin County, the EF3 that came up through Sidnersville, we had very low cloud basis with that too. It wasn't your, something like you see in the Midwest. These are very small, close to the ground tornadoes, and they're often rain wrapped. We're seeing more lightning activity as well in western North Carolina, and we'll look at the model here in just a second to show you that we are expecting more activity into the night tonight. But this kind of blew up on us a bit. We were thinking maybe tonight would be the night we would see most of the action out there in terms of severe weather. But what's going on is we've got this one band that has developed well in advance of the circulation. And what that's doing is it's already bringing the tornadic activity into our area a little earlier than expected. So this may be the main event that's coming through right now. We're not going to know until the night's done, because really as the circulation continues to pass off to our west, we'll continue to see these areas of rain continue to develop. I'm going to try to put up my telestrator and see if that'll work for us here. It'll take a second to load, but it'll make what I'm trying to tell you a little easier. I'm going to read the National Weather Service wire here. I've got a chat where we all talk to each other, all the different meteorologists. Tornado warning for Henry and Rockingham and Stokes has been canceled. The tornado warning for Patrick County continues until 3:15. The circulation near Spencer in Henry County. It's a tornadic shower. But we've had some damage reports out of North Carolina. We indeed had several tornadoes down around the Statesville area. You can see as you go toward Asheville into Greenville, Spartanburg there, several clusters of thunderstorms continue rotating around here. And that is something that will continue to exaggerate the flooding problem, unfortunately, in an area of North Carolina that has seen a lot of rain this summer. It's been dry in Virginia up till recent, but we're also looking at the threat of mudslides and things of that nature, runoff issues, and even stream and creek flooding, in addition to the tornado threat that's down in western North Carolina. Watching Boone very carefully because we've got, again, 2 tornado warnings here. There's a high resolution satellite picture. And we'll go over to our Gibson Ridge software and look at that as well. And just to note here, we're going to go to Greenville, Spartanburg to look at these tornado warnings that are up the creek, so to speak. And you can see that Greenville, South Carolina has a confirmed tornado. Radar confirmed. So this is a concern because, again, this same atmosphere is headed in our direction. So I'm just looking at this out of just curiosity right now to see what this looks like here. That is for Northeast Greenville County. And by the way, we're on TikTok nationwide. So if folks are in South Carolina, there's a lot of folks maybe watching this across the country. It's why I'm covering this as well. At 3 o'clock, a tornado producing storm was located 4 miles southeast of Greenville downtown, or near Greenville east side, moving north at 25. Cherrydale Point at 3:10. Taylor's Paris Mountain State Park in Greer at 3:20. That's in about 13 more minutes. Lake Robinson, Travelers Rest at 3:30. Tigerville at 3:40. A tornado is on the ground in South Carolina near Greenville. I don't see on the correlation coefficient, I see some debris there. There it is. That little area there. And if you look at the velocity, you can see that couplet shows up very clearly right here. That's north of Malden. So this is in South Carolina. And I'm covering that because it won't take this long to get up into North Carolina and even up into Virginia. Now, we've also got a couple of tornado warnings that are in effect near Taylorsville. There's 3 polygons out now. Now, that's on top of these, let's see, confirmed tornadoes that we've had from Wilkes County. Just to read you the latest warnings here in North Carolina, we've got one for western Alexander County, Caldwell County until 3:45. That's for this cell here. So it's going to be moving back into Wilkes County very soon. Yadkin Valley, Lenore, Sawmills, you've got a tornado warning for Caldwell County until 3:45. And then there's a third one that's in effect until 3:15 for Caldwell and North Central Burke counties. These are going to be moving into areas like Blowing Rock, Boone, Crossnore, Newland, areas that we normally don't consider to be a threat from tornadoes, right? This is the mountainous terrain of North Carolina, but we are indeed in an environment that supports that. Coming back here home in Southwest Virginia, we still do have the polygon up. Let me see if they're going to continue this or not. We do have a, by the way, I'm going to mention, we also have a flash flood watch in effect now until Wednesday at noon for the NRV, and I'll show you that graphically too. They're extending the area to include the Roanoke Valley and Franklin County of a flash flood watch. That's in effect too. Tornado warning still in effect in Patrick County. The circulation is northeast of Stewart. Let me take a look at the velocity data. And these are hard to track in environments like this, but there are actually several areas to me that look kind of interesting. And if we'll have to backtrack again and kind of look at this. There's 2 areas, 3 areas, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to try to highlight those. This area, and this is all in Patrick County, and this area. Those are 3 areas of circulation. And we'll watch those as we advance this to the north and go ahead in time. You can see those areas become a little more diffuse, but they're still there enough to where the polygon and the warning is still continuing. So that continues in effect. And again, this is in effect until, see the update, until 3:15, I believe, another 5 minutes. Yes. Patrick Springs, Penn Store, Critz, and Buffalo Ridge, south of Woolwine. You're in Henry County and Floyd County, and especially Carroll County and Grayson County. You do want to be prepared for more active weather here in the near future, and that includes Danville as well. Fancy Gap, Hillsville, just seeing some rain right now, but we've got a special weather statement for this cell that's in parts of Grayson County. We'll smooth that out for you, make it a little easier to see. That's in Independence. We've got very heavy rain and wind gusting up to about 30 to 40 miles per hour. Also some hydroplaning and some flooding going on because trees are falling just because the ground is so saturated all of a sudden. We went in Virginia, we went from almost a like crazy amount of drought developing to too much water too soon. We can take about 2.5 to 3 inches of rain in 6 hours before we'll see major flooding. But after we get to that point, if we do, on the rainfall end, we will start to see some issues out there. So I want to make sure this program's working properly too. Let's go back out. And this is our latest. Again, we can look at the satellite picture. We can see that overshooting top there near Floyd County. So again, that's a radar indicated warning. The worst case scenario would be a confirmed tornado. We don't have that yet, but we do have several reports of damage coming in out of the North Carolina area. This is a different way of looking at that. I'm going to show you my WeatherTap account here. We'll put the visible satellite on. You see very heavy rainfall in here. This is going to be an issue as well, ponding of water on roadways and these buildups of thunderstorms. So we've got this one band that's now moving into southern Franklin County, north of Danville, in the Galax and Carroll County there. And we've got another band that's back off to the south here. So I'll put that up here for you. This is action that's starting to develop around the Guilford County, Greensboro area, Winston-Salem. This is going to be spiraling in from the southeast. Aloft, we've got winds that are coming in from the southwest. And the crossing of that is what gives you the rotation in the spin. So that's the main thing. And you can look at the wind barbs there. You can see the winds coming in from the southeast. We've got some thunder in Patrick County too. So no longer is this just a tornadic shower. It is a confirmed thunderstorm. And you can see here on these plots the dew points up into the 70 to 75 degree range. I'm going to read to you some of the reports too that have been coming in. These are the official reports in from the National Weather Service. And from Wilkes County earlier at 1:15, the Fire Department, Rescue Emergency Management, and Rhonda Volunteer Fire Department reported several trees down near Rhonda and observed a brief tornado touchdown in Wilkes County. A house was also damaged on Clingman Road, as well as a roof to a chicken house there. All right, and then if you go down to the south here, Alexander County, North Carolina, law enforcement reported a tornado on the ground near Smith Farm with trees down and damage to nearby buildings and homes there. And out of Statesville, Iredell County, 5 miles east-northeast of Catawba, the emergency manager reported a tornado on the ground with some trees blown down there. The good news, I'm looking here, and they are going to, out of the Patrick County tornado warning, they're letting that go. The individual storm is, quote, embedded within the line and rotation has lifted. So that's the good news. But I want to tell you that we are in the environment now, and if you're on TikTok, I know it's a little hard to see, so I'll try to get this camera up, and it may be hard to see on TV as well. I'll try to work with you here. Let's widen that out a bit. All right, so this is the center of Fred right here. So it's a depression. That's going to track north through Bristol into the Virginia-Kentucky line and right into West Virginia through the night tonight into Wednesday. We've got all this activity out here ahead of it. One band there, another band here, and actually these are embedded bands even within the larger flow here. It's kind of a complex scenario, but you can see the wind shear that I'm talking about. But with the SPC page, we can actually quantify that and look at it. And you can see that we have a lot of wind shear. Let's see if I can get this enlarged on this screen. Yeah, there we go. So we've got wind shear right now that supports tornadic development in a situation like this. 35 knots of shear, 40 knots of shear over the upstate. So if you're in the mountains here, far western Virginia, northeast Tennessee, Bristol, Johnson City, down through Asheville, Charlotte, and again, including our area now, why you saw that Patrick County tornado warning get lifted is the cell was down here into North Carolina. It moved north into an area of weaker shear. But what's going to happen into the rest of the afternoon, we advance the model forward, and some of that higher wind shear is going to start to move more into Virginia and even West Virginia. The heavy rain threat has somewhat gone down, but the severe threat is going back up. So we keep that wind shear of about 30 to 35 knots going, and locally up to maybe 40 knots, hopefully weakening into tonight. But it's going to keep going all night tonight in bands. So there may be a lull, and hopefully we'll have that. But looking at these values, it's hard to ignore a supercell composite of 12 and 6 in the upstate of South Carolina. And we've even got supercell composites now in Henry County and parts of Pennsylvania County up to 2. That number seems kind of low, but if you put it into a, what is normal and what do we see when we get our tornadoes here, we normalize it to what we normally see, it's actually very elevated. All right, so it's a low value overall, but within the realm of making it relative to what we normally see, it's pretty high. So I'm just letting you know about that. Next 2 to 4 hours, the supercell composite overall goes down, but the bullseye of the highest spin is going to be moving north through Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and Charlotte, Columbia, South Carolina, into Franklin County, Danville, Martinsville, and Floyd County, and maybe even up to Roanoke and Lynchburg. We'll have to see. And this indicates this is the RAP model that the SPC uses, some spin going on possibly into Virginia Beach as well. That's the supercell composite. I also want to look at the violent tornado parameter, and that's showing some elevated conditions also moving north. That's just a different way to look at what you just saw. It's only showing you the chance of maybe something stronger like an EF2 or EF3. And some of the soundings I looked at yesterday were showing that going on in North Carolina today. So that's a look at why we have so much spin. We've also got a lot of moisture. Let's just look at the wind. Go to the surface here. I'm going to take the radar down. So you just see the pressure in the radar. If you follow this wind around, let's see, I'm going to use green since it's so moist. Go around, follow that, and make a kind of a dash or a line that follows these wind arrows. It's pretty much out of the southeast. Now we're going to go up to 925 millibars, and we're going to see what we can find there. So that's at the surface, 925 millibars. We've got a tornado warning now for my area. It just alerted on my telephone. We go up a little bit to 850 millibars. We've got it coming in now from the southwest. It's actually still out of the south, but if you go even higher up to 500 millibars, it's out of the south, and that's the concern. We bring it up out of the south over that southeast wind there, and the intensity of that goes up as well. That's why you have the wind shear, and you can see as I advance this through the next few hours, we've got a bad situation for wind shear. So, new warning out right now. Kevin Tosh is going to probably do something with his lights. He's got some lights to alert you, kind of let you know what's going on. We'll flash that red. We've got 2 new warnings, or at least 1. Let me read what the National Weather Service has on the chat. New tornado warning for a different location, pulling down the backside of the line with a hook on reflectivity for Patrick and Henry County. So a hook echo here, right on the Patrick-Henry County line in Virginia, north of Spencer. Another tornado warning hanging out around the Martinsville area has now prompted a second tornado warning. So we do have 2 tornado warnings now that include Franklin, southern Franklin County, northeast Patrick County, and to Henry County as well. So we're going to read that, and I'm also watching the Blair's area. Let's look at the velocity real fast. These are the 2 areas they're watching. Go back to our pin, and it's right here. This is toward the radar. That's away. That's one area of circulation. This is the other one near the Martinsville area. Just a few minutes ago, we were telling you there were actually 2 or 3 or even 4 areas of circulation that we were watching here, and that's what it is. Now, this is moving up to the north and to the east. There's also an area in here that's showing some signs, too, that we may want to watch around Snow Creek and definitely into Oak Level as well. Robin James from the radio station B99.9, you emailed me. I don't have time to get back to you, but you're welcome to use the feed. I'm going to write her back right now. Sorry, this is all live. You can use the audio from the feed. Okay. So hopefully we'll be on some radio too. And by the way, if you're an operator of a radio station and you want to go live with this, feel free to. Just give me the credit if you can every now and then, but I appreciate it. We're just trying to save lives here. All right, so 2 tornado warnings. I don't see anything up to date on that as far as any updates. They're going to put one out soon, I'm sure, as they normally do every few minutes. So we'll anticipate an update, but we'll show you here on the screen what's going on. From a storm relative sense, the circulation that there are 2 areas with this warning. There's one near Chatmoss and Laurel Park that's going to come very close to the west side of Martinsville. There you see some of the street level and satellite pictures there. The second circulation is Stanleytown, and that is over US 220 near Stanleytown. So as you're going, getting closer in the Franklin County there, near the truck area where they've got all the trucks on the road, we've got the second circulation. There's actually 3 circulations, and then the 4th one right here is north of Spencer, and that's headed toward Philpott Lake. Now I'm very concerned about what I'm seeing around Philpott Lake. Actually, this is a new area or another area, and this may be the original warning right there. That's a 5th area of rotation. And there are these little notches that keep wanting to spin up here within the polygon. So it's kind of a blanket polygon, but if you're in Ferrum or Endicott area southwest in Franklin County here, you definitely want to watch this one. That one looks more intense than the rest of them do. It may be it's closer to the radar, but it certainly to me looks pretty interesting here. So I'm going to go back to base reflectivity. I want to see if I can find that hook echo they were talking about, and I believe I already see it. A bit of a curl. Let's see if I can smooth that out for you. A bit of a curl right here in western Henry County. We've got some inflow notches here as well. Sometimes I look at the raw data, which shows me just the pure radar data, and you can see when it's curled up right here northwest of Spencer and north of Horse Pasture. When it curled up, it tightened a bit, and we see what we call an inflow notch going into the storm. This is in Patrick County, in Henry County. So there's the inflow notch there, and then you've got the rain wrapping around what could be the tornado, would be right in through there, right on the Henry-Patrick County line, as they told me just a second ago on chat. And the folks at the National Weather Service, we've got a crew just of me and Kevin here at Cable 12, but they've got, probably 15 people working on this. Also, don't want to forget, while we do have it in effect for southern Franklin County, the spin is still around Martinsville. Martinsville proper has the spin on both sides of you. It's really just on the west side of Martinsville, Laurel Park, and Chatmoss where we're seeing that rotation. But there's other storms that are producing actually more lightning south of Chatham. And just because we don't, Virginia, just because we don't have a a tornado warning doesn't mean we can't see a tornado. There's a watch out for this area. There's a special weather statement, a huge special weather statement now up that includes Franklin County. Torrential rainfall is occurring. We've also got the chance of some gusty winds in excess of 30 miles per hour. This is in southern Virginia. The line's extending from Galax to just north of Danville, so that's what we're seeing right here. And it's approaching Chatham. That's the more serious storm that I'm watching in terms of reflectivity. And let's see, moving to the north, I believe, 30 miles per hour. So they're speeding up. Gusty winds, even with these non-severe, technically non-severe storms, are still knocking over trees. And we know that because we had some yesterday and this morning. We had one in Bedford County where a huge tree just fell over. And no one knew it was there, and this poor fellow ran right into it. He's okay, was injured though. So that's a concern because of just all the rain that's fallen, and any gust that you get out of these non-warned storms can still produce damage, if that makes any sense. Still 2 tornado warnings down into North Carolina as well for Lenore and north of Hickory. So watching that area very closely as well. We've got a new special weather statement that's also up now for the New River Valley. That's for the same polygon here, but I'll read you that too. At 3:15, Doppler radar is tracking a line of showers and storms with embedded thunder and lightning along a line from near Galax, Virginia to just north of Danville. And again, Martinsville, Pulaski, Galax, Floyd, Blacksburg, Rocky Mount, Gretna, and Chatham. If you're in these areas within this little gray box here, and I'll draw it for you. We'll draw it in yellow. But right through here is where we think this band that's producing all the trouble is going to impact, in the immediate 30 minutes to the next hour. So hunker down in those areas. When I say be weather aware, get into a closet, get away from windows. If you don't have a safe place to go, like if you live in a mobile home or a trailer, lots of people try to get to their neighbor's house if they have a sturdier shelter. There's been studies that show, and there's debate on this, but as a last resort, if it's a confirmed tornado and it's coming towards you and you can't get out to a basement or something like that, some people can ride these things out in their vehicles because you have that big steel cage that protects you, and you put your safety belt on and you kind of duck behind the glass. It's not recommended, but as a bottom line, nothing else is going to work for me, that can sometimes work. You can also get into a ditch and just lie down in the lowest part of a ditch. You're going to get wet from the rain, and you tossed around a little bit from the wind. Not, the stuff will be probably going over you outside the ditch, but just kind of hunkering down and protecting your head mostly in those situations. All right, so it won't be long before we start to see Roanoke and Blacksburg and Bedford probably into the action as well. And if you're listening to us on the radio stations throughout the area, we do want to welcome you and just let you know this is Cable 12 meteorologist Jamie Singleton. We're bringing you up-to-date coverage of 2 tornado warnings and a tornado watch that's in effect for the area. The 2 tornado warnings that are right now continuing are for northeast Patrick County, southwest Franklin County, all of Henry County, and southern Franklin County. The first warning's in effect until 3:45. That's from numerous circulations around Martinsville. And then we've got another one from the Patrick County, Henry County area, western Henry County, until 3:45 as well. Correlation coefficient doesn't show any debris in the air. That's somewhat good news. I'm going to go back in time and see if I see anything that's not cranberry colored. We did see a lightning jump and a little yellow speck here north of 58 in Patrick County when that warning came out. See all the lightning that suddenly developed? That can be a sign that we suddenly had an updraft in the formation of a tornado that kind of really intensified for a few minutes. And these things can sometimes do that and just dissipate within the next radar scan. So radars aren't foolproof. But you can see a little bit of a lowering on the correlation coefficient there. A lot of times in Virginia, I notice in these rural areas, you'll get leaves that are picked up on the radar, and they show up as a little bit of a drop in correlation coefficient. Let's see. The one around Martinsville here. Still got a hook echo here near Martinsville. That's northeast of Martinsville. It's approaching the Stanleytown area. That looks to be the most impressive notch of circulation. It's going to continue like this probably throughout the afternoon and evening, unfortunately. Got an update to our tornado warning now. It's near Ferrystone State Park. It's where one of these circulations is. I'll read it to you. Moving near Ferrystone, moving northwest at 35 miles per hour, 8 miles to the east of Woolwine. It continues that tornado warning until 3:45. So for about another 14 minutes or so. You know, with any tornado, you got to watch out for flying debris and damage to roofs, windows, vehicles, tree damage as well. Trees falling can be deadly, as you know, unfortunately, in this area. Sandville, Endicott, Philpott Dam, Ferrystone, and Charity now in the path. Take cover now, move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows, and if you're outdoors in a mobile home or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. And that may be a ditch if you have to. Locally heavy rain will quickly reduce visibility. It's going to result in ponding of water on roadways. The ground is very saturated. You can see all the heavy rain that we're seeing, all these reds and oranges. And that'll pond up as well, as we've seen up to 7 to 8 inches of rain in some parts of the area over the past 6 days. This is the 6th or 7th straight day of storm activity and severe weather, but by and large, this is the most intense. The good news I can tell you about in Virginia is I don't have any confirmed reports of damage right now. Everything is based on radar, and if we can continue that trend, we're still going to be alerted and we'll be a little worried because of this, and we'll have to take action. But if that trend continues, that would be a good thing. The concerning thing is, if you look at the model data, is things should be going downhill in Virginia as we get more wind shear here coming up in the next really just 1 or 2 hours. That's why I'm going to show you the HER model on the screen. This is a look at the latest run of that. So we've got our storms. This is Virginia, North Carolina. It's handling them very well through 3. That's right now. 3, 4 o'clock, we're going to see that get closer to Lynchburg and Roanoke and 460. Also into Gretna as well by around 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock. There'll be more bands here coming out of the south as we go into the evening hours. The circulation from Fred will be kind of over the Bristol area, just to the southwest of Bristol. May get a bit of a gap where there's no action for a while tonight, but don't let your guard down throughout the night tonight. You want to have multiple ways to get warnings and alerts from friends. You can be a hero if you are watching this, and you can let somebody know on Facebook Messenger or send them a text, hey, Jamie's on live, or go over to the next TV station. We don't really compete, us meteorologists, when something like this is going on. We just want the word to get out and get that warning any way you can. Studies have shown if you do that, that's actually a better way of notifying people than the way we do it sometimes. They like getting that confirmation from a family member or a friend. The main line with this may wait until midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning before it moves east. And there is indicated here on the model, there is some spinning that's being shown. Now this is coming up about 12 hours from now, 12, 13 hours from now. This is while you sleep. You can see the curling going on the model there. That's showing us potential supercells moving as far north as the Allegheny Highlands. That's at 9Z, so that's at 5 a.m. So through 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, you need to have that cell phone charged up and ready to go. You need to have your safe place ready to go if a warning is issued and you get that alert on your phone. Your WIA, your phone will go off. It's called Wireless Emergency Alert. It actually operates differently than your cell phone does, so it doesn't rely on cell phone networks as much as it does, I think, a radio transmission, but uses your GPS to figure out where you're at and overrides your cell phone data, so you don't have to worry about data fees with those. But definitely have those turned on. I think that's the best way to get the alerts out. After that, it kind of clears out for Wednesday afternoon. So I'm thinking we are going to clear out tomorrow. We may have a couple of showers by afternoon. By and large, this is the worst part of the storm right now, and probably into tonight we'll have that second round move in. We're continuing the tornado warning for Martinsville and Franklin County at 3:31. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. I'll pop this up. Was located in that area. We'll turn the satellite picture off and just give you an overview of where these tornado warnings are. Again, they are radar indicated, but can't ignore that. That includes Martinsville, southern Franklin County up to Snow Creek, and southwest Franklin County. The second warning in effect for Patrick County as well. Tornado possibly located over Collinsville, just northwest of the city of Martinsville. So about right there. And another thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located just northeast of Martinsville. So like I said, both sides, I was just showing you that on radar. And it's good to see the Weather Service locking in on the exact same things that we're seeing on our radar here, or their radar. We're both looking at it from different viewpoints though. Northeast of Martinsville, both storms were moving to the northwest at 20 miles per hour. I'm going to turn our next rad data on here. And if you're listening on the radio, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the velocity off of the radar. We can see if the wind's coming toward or away from the radar, which is in Floyd County. And when we look at that, we can sometimes see these notches. They're very subtle, but we can kind of see that, and we can go from there. I'm going to turn on the Meso and TVS, see if we get any icons that pop up as we continue to get more radar data. But I'm also going to do some manual tracking here. So we're going to do a cell track from this one, what was northwest at 20. So if we put our marker here, which is about where this rotation is, and I did that wrong. So we're going to draw a manual cell track right there, and we're going to go north at 20. There's 20, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20. And I believe that's a pretty good storm motion vector for that one. Same thing here. That's not the way I want it to. That's okay. We'll make it happen. Right there. 19 or 20 northwest. So there's your path here. Near Ferrum, I think you need to, hunker down for another half hour or so, and it may arrive in about a half hour, the circulation. Looking at somebody that's going it's in the horse pasture area, sending me some text and updates from that area. Thank you very much for that. Try to get these alerts out as we get them there. Still looking at the tornado warning. All right, so let's go to our reflectivity. I'll go back to here and just give you an overview again as folks are joining us. The heaviest line of storms now in northern Patrick County, northern Henry County. If you live on the southern edge of Martinsville, down to horse pasture, you are now in the clear from this particular band. You're also in the clear in Stewart from this particular band. But notice that we still have a tornado watch up for all of this area, the flashing red area, until 7 o'clock. And that's to account for the second band that may be coming out of Greensboro and Lexington from the south-southeast. That's going to continue moving north, and again, we'll continue to see maybe something around the Danville area in terms of an embedded thunderstorm, but the shear is increased off to the west in the mountains. And a lot of folks may be wondering about that. Why is the shear, or why do we have a better chance of tornadoes in the mountains than we do Danville? It's kind of the opposite, right? Well, it's because of the location of the circulation with Fred. It's off to the west. It's even west of Bristol and Knoxville. I'm going to show it to you real quick as we pull it up here on GR Earth, and you can see all the tornado warnings and tornado watches that are in effect. We'll get rid of the satellite picture, or we'll change it. Let me change this to the visible satellite picture. and you'll be able to see the general circulation. This also gives you a better idea if you're watching from TikTok and wondering what state I'm talking about here. This is going to give you maybe a better idea of that. We're on the top end in Virginia of all this action, and that's why we had to go ahead and get a tornado watch issued for that band that you see right there already moving through and producing the couple of tornado warnings that are now moving closer to Franklin County. I feel like the warnings with those will be dropped as we get into an atmosphere. It's a little less environmental for Shear right now. But as we go into the next hour or two beyond this time, we may see those get reissued in a real quick hurry as that air is moved north. Something I don't like in terms of severe weather. I'm looking down here on the satellite picture and I can see these breaks of sunshine in between the clouds here. That is just adding heat to the atmosphere. And what really hurt Virginia in our area in this case is we were thinking originally we were going to see this come through tonight after sunset, and granted it was still going to be warm and unstable, but not quite as warm as unstable as the day. Well, now that band that's already moved in fast is taking all the advantage it can out of the fact that you know, it's 78 over 74 temperature and dew point, and we're getting all that. We're getting all that shear going on. Storm Prediction Center also has tornado watch up for western North Carolina, Greenville, and Columbia. We've had confirmed tornadoes around Columbia. We've got a new tornado warning now that's for Franklin, Henry, and Patrick County. I'm going to try to get this charge up to my phone here as well. Kevin, if you can hop in here, and actually I can do it. I'm prepared for just such an occasion. Maybe pop the radar full for a second. I'm going to make sure my phone stays charged for our TikTok folks. Yeah, just got that new tornado warning on my WIA there as well. So let's hook this up. There we go. All right, we're now good on the cell phone end. Good deal. All right, you can return to whatever. We've got that new warning in effect now. There's 3 warnings up. This is pretty amazing for Franklin County. Now going up to Rocky Mount. I'm going to read you the text of this, and we're going to zoom into the affected areas. There you can see a tornado warning for northwestern Henry County, southwestern Franklin County. I know these are the same areas, but they are newer cells that are developing within that. Northeastern Patrick County until 4:15. So now we've got 32 minutes to look at this. And we were just tracking it a second ago. At 3:41, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located right over Bassett. And you can actually see a hook there near Bassett. Moving to the northwest at 20 miles per hour, flying debris, radar indicated rotation, and we'll show you that too in a second. Locations include Bassett, Ferrum, Sandville, Stanleytown, Endicott, Ferrystone, and Oak Level. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building and avoid windows. Do not go outside with your cell phone and try to send a picture to your friend. Do not wait for you to see the tornado if it's out there and then seek shelter. The people that die are the ones that are doing that. You need to take these polygons as serious as a heart attack. So when your phone goes off and you get that tornado warning, just right then and there, it's meant to make you take action and save your own life. I can see 3 distinct hooks. This is only on composite imagery. One in northern Henry County, just south of Figsboro, so Snow Creek, watch out. There's another one near Bassett, and there's a third one in northern Patrick County. I'm also going to show you the significant tornado parameter, which is a live look at what the environment is doing and where we could possibly see the highest rotation. And we'll see if that lines up for us. Interestingly enough, on this model, or this particular analysis, it's still down in North Carolina. But it is moving north. So that's why the tornado watch is still in effect. Go back to our high-res radar here and update the images for you. I see a very distinct hook, unfortunately, near Oak Level. And that's the only warning now that's in effect. So now we've just got this one polygon to worry about. But that does include Wadesboro, west of Rocky Mount, and the Ferrum area. Let's look at the base velocity. There is a well-defined couplet here. This is where winds are blowing away from the radar, blowing toward the radar, very close to Bassett and Philpott Lake. And it is moving to the northwest at about 20 miles per hour if it's a tornado. There is another area of circulation. I don't see a warning out for that one just yet. I do believe it's coming though, for southern Franklin County here near the Snow Creek area. So there's one there and there's one there. And these tropical systems are notorious for doing that when we get these little bands that come in and encounter this wind shear. Yeah, there's now a tornado warning in effect. I keep getting an alert. I'm trying to figure out why. It shows up better if I show you the storm relative velocity. You can see that we've got a pretty tight rotation there at Oak Level and nearing the Henry area of Franklin County. You need to get in a safe shelter right this second. This is in southern Virginia near Henry and Philpott Lake. There's Philpott Lake there near the dam, just to the west of Oak Level. This particular circulation will likely miss Oak Level itself, but in the greater area, as you head from Oak Level into Ferrum and that back road there, you take past the Log Cabin Store up to the Ferrum area and Crossroads, you are in the zone that you want to watch. I want to see if I see any debris here, and my goodness, we do. So this is going to end up being a radar confirmed tornado. And the reason it's radar confirmed, or it's going to be very soon, is that we've got a lowering of correlation coefficient values here. All of this is rain, but right here, that is debris being picked up on the radar. That could be homes, that could be tree limbs, that could be trees, that could be something. It's not weather. And that's what that radar image, that these cranberry colors show us what the weather's doing. The colors that drop in correlation coefficient show us where we likely have some debris in the air. And there was a slight hint of a little debris just as that warning came out south of Philpott Lake. It's good circulation. I wanted to also look at spectrum width, and you'll pardon me as I kind of do the geeky stuff live. I'm looking for my other products to kind of show me. I don't see anything on spectrum width. That would show me where the winds are changing over time and fluctuating. We would see that normally, but that's in a pretty mountainous area. If you're ever in that area, you know how the roads wind back and forth. It'd be very hard to get your bearings. So hopefully you're not out trying to chase or run out from this thing. Take shelter. And if you're in Rocky Mount, you're just outside of the polygon on the east side of the town, in the central part of the town. But if you're south and west of Rocky Mount, there's definitely a reason to take shelter right now. I should mention that we also have this band here coming out of Callens and approaching Union Hall, and right near the TV station here shortly, that also has some circulation with it near Snow Creek. In fact, that looks a bit broader, but it looks also more intense, where we're seeing a bit more of a curl in the velocity data there, and that is, again, southern Franklin County in Virginia. That is moving up to the north as well. And I'm putting it into motion so you can see if we can visualize here the spinning of this band. So the band of rain comes in and it's just rain. It's right on that southern edge of the band that we're seeing everything kind of curl up a bit. And that is where we usually see in situations like this, where we see the actual tornadoes. But I think we may have one, at least one there. I think it's lifted now, but it looked like a second ago south of Oak Level in Henry County and Stanleytown and Oak Level there near Bassett. It looked like there was some debris on the radar, and that's hitting closer in the Philpott Lake. So, you know, if it's safe and you can get me a report from that area, I would appreciate it, but I do not want you to go out in this. This is as dangerous as it gets in southern Virginia. This is the rotation tracker, and again, it's kind of highlighting there that area, and you can see how mountainous it is, and it's rural. But there's Bassett proper, Stanleytown and Oak Level. There's Henry. That is what prompted the warning. And you can see the new polygon came out there at 38 after So that was about 12 minutes ago, pushing ever so closer to the Henry community of Franklin County. And now this radar data is going to be a bit delayed. Also, you got to consider when you're watching the stream, you've got a little delay too. So that's why I kind of want to get out ahead of this some. But Henry area, you've got a lot of rotation heading in for our area, notably for this time of the year, higher than what we normally see in just an ordinary thunderstorm. And now we've got a new scan in that shows that rotation right over Henry. So the Henry area of Franklin County, take cover right now. We've got a little bit of debris that's showing up on the radar picture here. And we've got what could be a debris ball there showing up as well. You can see that higher reflectivity. Look at that, and then I pop that on, and I can see that that could be the real deal. There's also some higher pixels here in my reflectivity. I'm not sure what that is exactly, but we'll continue watching that. There's notably some lightning and some gusty winds coming up through southeastern Franklin County. No warning in effect just yet for this area, but I have been watching some broad rotation here. You can kind of see that bow. There's probably some gusty winds through here that are pushing north toward the Rocky Mountain Union Hall redwoods right there. That's where I'm sitting in Redwood, Franklin County, Virginia, United States of America. Zoom it back out. The area that needs to watch this band, if we look at it in a more general sense, is south of Blacksburg to Christiansburg, all of Floyd County. Floyd right now getting the worst of the rain, but there's no huge circulation that's nearby in Floyd, at least to prompt a warning or another statement. That activity is right on the county line of Patrick and Henry counties. There are two areas to watch here. And again, just a lot of rain and a lot of spin in the atmosphere. I'm looking back at the couplets here that I'm looking at on velocity, seeing which one shows up better. You can see two of them. There's one here, and this is a very rural part of the community. That's kind of the better news, but the bad news is there are a lot of, small barns and mobile homes in this area too, all across our area. There's a third area of rotation in southern Franklin County. These are homes that aren't, they can't stand up to tornadic winds or even microbursts. That tornado warning's now continuing here. We've got an update to that. Just came across chat, Weather Service chat. Remains in effect until 4:15, southwestern Franklin, northeastern Patrick counties. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado right near Philpott Dam. So that's the middle one that you're seeing on the screen. Radar indicated rotation. I'm actually kind of surprised that they don't have this as a radar confirmed tornado, because maybe there wasn't quite enough correlation coefficient to justify it, but I saw a drop in it right there. I was a little worried about that middle one right there near Stanleytown when I saw that drop in correlation coefficient. Now that's still there. This is the updated polygon, so just to let you know, in Stanleytown and Martinsville, you're back in the clear again. I know we keep going back and forth because the cells keep re-emerging and moving north, but it's primarily this cell now just near Henry, just passed right over Henry. If there was a tornado, it may have hit Henry, parts of Henry. By nature, tornadoes are very small though, so just because out your window and in your backyard you didn't see it doesn't mean someone up the street didn't see some wind damage. And even in circulation patterns, we can see tornadic-like winds that aren't necessarily spinning. But this is spinning north of Henry, and that's going to probably move very close to Ferrum here in the near future. So in Ferrum, you need to go ahead and be heading into a safe place, like a basement. You need to be away from windows. You need to get under a workbench. A lot of studies have shown too that the bathrooms, because of the added plumbing and the fact that a lot of them don't have windows and you've got more walls just for the shower, you can get in those, and those hold up a lot better than some of the exterior rooms that are facing, like the bedrooms that have the window, the side of the house that's exposed there to the outdoors. That notch of rotation is still going on around Henry now. It's north. It's not entirely north of Philpott Lake, but there's the dam, which is the dam's now out of the polygon, but Henry still is. And that continues moving a bit closer to Route 40 in Franklin County, which runs like that through the area. Broad circulation still over Snow Creek doesn't mean that we can't see a tornado in southeast Franklin County, but they have not put a warning out for that as of yet. Let's see, let me go back here. So Henry County is excluded now from the tornado warning, but Franklin County, and it's mainly southeast Franklin County and southern Franklin County that I am most worried about. We've also got the outflow from these thunderstorms. You may hear some thunder on our stream here very soon. That's getting very close to this yellow cursor in Redwood. That is where I'm rotating, or where I'm rotating. It's a long day. That's where I'm sitting. And yeah, probably rotating when I'm looking back and forth on my computer screens. But this looks more like a bow echo. So there's probably some 30, 35 mile per hour winds coming up towards Union Hall, and Pinhook right now getting slammed with some probable straight line winds there as well. I'm going to look at the size of the particles that the radar is hitting. And I know I'm showing a lot of info for you, but this can tell me a lot about the structure of these storms. That red area that you see is an updraft. That's the part of the storm that's going up into the cloud. And that's where you see your tornado. So if I pop on this three-dimensional diagram here, I want to see how healthy that updraft is. So let's look down on it in 2 dimensions first. I know this is kind of hard to get your bearings here. But there's Henry County, and again, if you zoom in here, on the ground you can see that red area. So I'm going to move this right there. I'm going to go back in here, move that up so you can see it better. And I'm looking for values of red and orange that go way up into the cloud there. They're very low-topped thunderstorms, so I don't see much there. I'll look at my velocity or my base reflectivity, and these are low tops, storms, only about 9,000 feet. But still see some evidence of debris lofted just a little bit off the ground in that area of southern Franklin County. So, yeah, that's concerning. It really is. I don't have anything new coming out. The circulation is getting a little bit closer to you now, Ferrum and Ferrum College, just to let you know. And I'm trying to see if I see anything else that stands out. Luckily, right now, it's primarily this one south of Ferrum. And if they are going to extend it, that being the National Weather Service out of Blacksburg, I'm going to let you know too. We've also got a broader circulation that looks more impressive overall, but it's not quite as tight south of Rocky Mount and passing over Snow Creek. We do have a new special weather statement in effect that'll pop up on our screen very soon here in the gray box that I'm getting off the weather wire as well. There's a regular radar, put it back into motion. You can see all of these polygons coming out. So I know you're getting bombarded with alerts and different things going on, but we do that because each cell can produce numerous little spins within it that don't have to be all at once. The thing that's also concerning is, we're concentrating on this band right now that's pushing in, that's now entering the Rocky Mount area, southern Franklin County. But down at the bottom of the screen, and for you radio listeners, you can see that around Wentworth and Rockingham County, North Carolina, there's now a second band that's coming in that's going to keep us busy through, for the next several hours, it looks like. I'm noting that we're coming up on 4 o'clock, which is when the first tornado watch was set to expire. But I'm betting that the Storm Prediction Center may issue another tornado watch because now we're seeing more activity move in. And I don't think you can hear it, but we've got very heavy rain falling at our station right now. Rainfall rate of about 1/4 of an inch an hour. Dew point of 73, temperature of 77, and yeah, it's blowing up against the windows pretty good. So that's that straight line wind that's coming in from the south. And just to read you, this is approaching the Roanoke area now. I'm going to read you the special weather statement here. That's with that. So it's for this area. I'll outline that in yellow. This area from Union, West Virginia, through Rocky Mount, Gretna, Alta Vista, Roanoke, and Bedford. This is the next area of storms that will be moving in. At 3:52, radar indicated a line of rain extending from Harrisburg to near Gretna. Very strong winds outside right now, gusty. Movement of this line was moving north at 30. Winds in excess of 30 miles an hour with locally stronger gusts are possible with this rain. In addition, we've got heavy rain falling at 3 to 4 inches per hour. And we talked about the flooding potential. We could take about 6 inches of rain in 3 hours. 3 inches of rain in 6 hours. But if we go above that and you get these 4 inch per hour rainfall rates for, if it rains more than an hour and a half, we're at the flash flood threshold. So we may soon see some flash flooding into tonight as well. And with the setting sun, that's going to be a big concern. 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of accumulation likely in a few minutes. Motorists are urged to drive with extreme caution. Roanoke, Blacksburg, Salem, Christiansburg, Benton, Bedford, and Rocky Mount in the path of this. I've got a rainfall rate of 3.1 inches per hour on my Davis weather station out the window. That lines right up with what the Weather Service just sent out. 3.1 inches. Now it's instantaneous, and now it's down to 2.74 inches an hour. That's an incredible amount of water. That's like somebody taking a bucket and just pouring that water out. And that's why we worry about flooding with tropical systems. They bring all that water that they got over the Gulf or the ocean over land, and it just gets wrung out over the area. All right. So we do want to watch this last little hook that's on the radar screen. Southern Franklin County, nearing Ferrum. And we're going to look at the velocity to see what we have here. It's diminished somewhat. It's still showing up though. There's actually several areas of spin that are showing up here. You see it there near Philpott when it was over Henry. It looks like it actually tightened up a bit as it moved north of Henry. Right there. Let's look at the correlation coefficient. It didn't drop. It didn't really drop there, so that's the good news. But, right there, it dropped some. You see that orange where the cranberry is at, and then you've got the lighter colors. That could be some debris in the air. A little bit of rotation. There's the greens and the reds close together. These are your heavy rainfall rates, by the way. Union Hall, Pinhook. See this area right here? This product shows me where we're seeing huge raindrops and just a lot of water coming out of the air. And that's moving north through Franklin County. And that's why it's raining cats and dogs, according to the weather station. I'm right there at that cursor. But you still need to be taking shelter for the wind and the Ferrum and the potential for this tornado. I'm going to see if what they're going to do with this as it continues moving up to the north. Let me go to my other source here. Just to give you an overview, live lightning is on your screen. There's a tornado warning to the north of Hickory, North Carolina, western Caldwell County. And this is in effect until 4:30. Movement to the northwest at 30 to 40. We've also got the one in the Franklin County that continues in effect until 4:15, movement to the north at 22 miles per hour. Tornado watch is in effect, and I believe that's in effect until 7 o'clock now. All right. So they've extended that as expected. Also, for our viewers in South Central Virginia, don't want to forget you. You don't have the tornado alerts here, but we've got a lot of lightning around Chase City and the Danville. And then as you go farther to the south, it's not only a tornado threat, but the flash flood warnings are starting to add up. Now we're getting that rain that's coming down on top of the already saturated soil. So we've got numerous flash flood warnings up to Asheville and Buncombe County, down to Brevard and the upstate of South Carolina as well. The closer in, Roanoke itself isn't under a tornado watch or a warning at the moment, but I would be advised that if you live close to the watch, that's not necessarily something that keeps you safe. All right, seeing a lot of lightning. It's not too powerful. I can see on my screen the energy with each lightning bolt, and it's fairly weak lightning. Now this bigger bolt is the size correlates to the lightning power. That one that just right there, that's a more intense bolt near Eden in Reedsville, and that's with the second line of activity. Let's go look at the instability. This is the surface cape. This is thunderstorm juice, fuel, so to speak, and it's out there. Anything above 500 to 1,000 in a situation like this will give you some severe weather, and we've got capes of around 2,200 near Reedsville. It doesn't have to be a lot when you've got this much shear. 1,200 cape. Basically, this is showing us that indeed the atmosphere is primed and ready for anything. Like if you drop a match into fuel, you're going to get some fire and explosion. Kind of the same thing in the atmosphere when that happens. And so when you get a band that moves into that cape, we start to see some bad things happen. Dew points, again, this is a measure of how much moisture is in the air. It adds to that instability. They are right around 70, well into the 70s even, and that's because we have a tropical air mass in place. We have a dew point of 75 at the TV station. We've also got a dew point of 75 through Martinsville and Blue Ridge, down to Eden and Stoneville as well. 75-degree dew points all the way through western North Carolina. 77-degree dew points eastern North Carolina. Goodness, that is some sultry air. We had a dew point earlier of 77 here at the TV station. All that moisture is, again, being brought in to this circulation. And what it's going to do tonight, talking about it from a flood perspective, it comes in like this, and the mountains are right here. So it hits the mountains, it's forced to go up into the air, and it wrings out even more water from the air. So you get these higher amounts of rain where most areas may get 1 to 3. These areas right along the mountains are going to end up probably 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain on top of what you've already seen there. Still got that small warning out for Franklin County. We've got some more stuff upstream here. When this Franklin County warning, we may take a break if the Franklin County warning gets dropped. But right now it's still in effect. Let's turn the dew points off. I'm going to look at the satellite. Sometimes your satellite pictures can give you a little bit of a insight to what's going on. And we're going to mess with the color a little bit for you so we can kind of visualize the storms as they're moving in. You can also probably on this see the wind shear. So there's your radar indicated tornado warning, and we're going to take the radar off for this. We're going to let this load, and this is going back 2 hours. Let's just take it back an hour. Now notice the yellow here, these yellow clouds that are underneath around Mount Airy and Galax. That shows you the lower level clouds, the lower level flow. So notice the yellow clouds are moving out of the southeast. Notice the brighter color clouds that are in the blue here, they are moving in from the southwest. So when an updraft encounters that wind shear, it starts here and it starts to curve around from the southwest. That's 90 degrees of directional shear, and you've got that instability that I just showed you in place. You bet there's going to be some spinning in the atmosphere. And that is exactly what we're seeing. So that's the circulation. I can show you and widen this a bit and show you the three-dimensional look to this incredible image now. The circulation is near Atlanta. We can actually see it right about here between Atlanta and Athens. And it's going to go up something like this between Knoxville and Johnson City. It's these southerly bands, these southeasterly bands that are causing all the issues out there with both the heavy rain and the rotation. I'll show you the latest. I don't have any sign that a new warning will be issued for Franklin County, but it doesn't mean it won't. I've also got 2 warnings out now for North Carolina, radar indicated, but this also includes western North Carolina and Lenore and Sawmills, Cross Nor, and Newland, North Carolina, and Banner Elk, south of Boone. You've got yet more going on there. In terms of rotation, you've got some cells that are popping up around South Hill. Watch out for these. Notice how there's no warnings or watches out, but you can see the overshooting tops in 3D. Also in Halifax County near South Boston. Look at the lightning with this one cell around Chase City. That's not going to, exclude you from getting some gusty winds and maybe some downed trees. We've also got an aerial flood advisory now for Roanoke and the city of Salem until 8 o'clock. That's as this rain moves into Roanoke, and they're anticipating probably we're going to have some runoff issues there as well. That being the National Weather Service. Let's put the radar data back on the screen here. We've got the reflectivity that should be loading very shortly. Might have to switch to level 3 to get that to happen. There you see the rain heading into Roanoke, so the aerial flood advisory is issued just for the heavier rain. The potential tornado is showing up as some fairly weak radar pictures here, but the hook is still near Route 40, over Route 40 in Ferrum, just as you go west of Ferrum there, toward the Parkway. And it's moving off to the north-northwest at 30 to 35 miles per hour. Level 2 will give us a little bit more of a look in more detail if it ever decides to pop up. But there's the polygon again. So if you're in Rocky Mount, you are not under the warning at the moment. Bassett, no longer under the warning. It's just a small part of southwest Franklin County, and that is included in our Cable 12 viewing area where we do have a tornado warning in effect. Moving a little bit closer to the Parkway now, away from Ferrum. Let me look at the radar screen on my high-res radar, and I want to see if I can find any rotation left. Looks like this is, if it is a tornado, it's getting choked off by the fact that all the rain has moved north of it. There's still some rotation there, but it looks a little weaker to me. Looks like it may be shearing out some. It's elongated, so that's probably a good sign. But we did have indications of potential debris, maybe some leaves or whatever being picked up by this. Haven't heard anything coming across chat that confirms anything at all. So this warning's in effect still until Patrick County's been canceled. Remains in effect until 4:15, about another 3 minutes. We'll hold it here for 3 minutes, and if I don't get anything new, what I will do is take a breather here. So we've been talking for, I think, over an hour now. But we do have, we'll jump back on when we do have more warnings, but we do have more activity coming now back into Henry County from Eden. So we can't really let our guard down tonight at any point, because we'll get one band that'll come through, and then another band comes in right behind it from Rockingham County and the Wentworth and Danbury, north of Winston-Salem. And if you look farther to the west, we've got all this flash flooding that's on the edge of our radar screen, but that is something that we need to watch too. These small cells that seem pretty insignificant are capable of producing tornadoes to the south. Just got word, even though you're still seeing it on the screen, that they have expired the tornado warning for Franklin County. So the wind shear is weakened. This warning is no longer in effect. The warnings off to the west still are in effect. Smith Mountain Lake, you're still seeing some very gusty winds heading toward your area. There was some spin earlier, but it seems to just have gone into more of a straight line gusty winds mode. So that's a look at what's going on. 2 tornado warnings in western North Carolina, numerous flash flood warnings in effect, a confirmed tornado warning down across South Carolina to the west and north of Columbia, and more activity on the way. We will have more coverage. I'll be streaming again once more warnings are issued for Southwest Virginia, but we're going to take a quick breather here, and we'll be back on Twitter. We'll be back on Facebook, Patreon, Cable 12, TikTok, Instagram, and all the other feeds, YouTube as well, if you need coverage there. Stay safe, everybody.